3 games now without a win. Manchester United celebrating a 3-2 victory there. Jamie has texted in saying, "Morning lads, I'm struggling with all this Arsenal doom and gloom. Fact is, we're 4 points clear and have just lost a game against a confident and buoyant Manchester United. We have no divine right to win games. We just had an off day. We gifted them 1 goal and conceded 2 worldies." Well, let's see if a man who knows all about winning trophies shares that viewpoint. It's the former Arsenal goalkeeper, David Seaman. Morning, David.
Good morning, David.
Good morning, lads.
As Jamie just summed it up there, really, Arsenal had a bit of an off day and lost to a couple of worldies, or was it more concerning than that?
No, it was a little bit of an off day, but it was a great performance by Man United. You know, you've got to give them credit because the last 2 games they've had, you know, obviously they beat City with a great performance. You know, that wasn't luck. And then they beat us with, you know, a couple of fantastic goals. Okay, we gave them a goal. But when you look at the overall picture, I think, you know, they just about deserved it, if I'm honest. You know, I didn't see Lehmann's making many saves, you know, like with David Raya as well. You know, there weren't that many chances. I think Man United had 3 shots on target and had 3 goals. You know, so it was a great performance by Man United, and I'm not getting worried.
Naturally, David, there's going to be pressure, isn't there? You know, this group of players aren't used to winning Premier League titles. They've had so many chances this season to extend that lead, haven't they? To maybe 9 to 12 points, and they haven't. 2 points out of their last possible 9. Do you think the pressure is affecting the players?
The pressure is building up, Gab, no doubt about that. You know, because of the history of the last 3 seasons as well. You know, like you said, we've only taken 2 points from 3 from the last 3 games. You know, when you looked at that before the defeat of Man United, you were thinking, okay, that's a little blip, but you're still picking up points. But now we've got a defeat in that. You know, so people are going to start looking, people are going to start talking, but, you know, it's how you react after games like this. And when you look at the fixtures that they've got coming up, I think they've got Leeds tonight, and then they've got Sunderland and Brentford. So they're games that they should win. Not Leeds tonight, Leeds on the weekend. Yeah, but, you know, they're games that they should win. So it's all about reacting and still being positive. You know, you're top of the league. Okay, you've just dropped 3 points against Man United, who are full of confidence at the moment, you know, and they're going to be hard to beat whoever they play.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you concerned at all, David, about the lack of goals from open play?
A little bit, a little bit. But, you know, when you're as good as what you are on set pieces, you play to your strengths. You know, and that's what we're doing. You know, we're getting the corners. You know, and when you look at the Arsenal goal yesterday with Dogu, you know, he should just head that out for a corner. But obviously, he's aware of how good we are at corners, and he tried to either flick it on or get distance on it, and messed it up, and it gave Saka and then Odegaard the chance to get it back in the box. You know, so play to your strengths. The goals from normal play will come. I'm sure they will. You know, obviously there was a big change with Jesus and Gyökeres. You know, I still like that. I still like the fact that, you know, I thought it was a good game to leave Gyökeres out because he'd just come off scoring a couple of goals in the last few games, so his confidence was building. And then it gave Jesus a chance. You know, obviously Mikel made the substitutions quite early on in the game, and then brought Gyökeres on and gave him a chance. But no, I'm not worried at all, Jeff, about that. You know, keep doing what you're good at.
What about the atmosphere last night, David? Because it was the same against Liverpool at home. Seemed a bit nervy. I had a few friends that went yesterday. They said the fans seemed very nervy. Do you think that's affecting the players?
It will do if they carry on, Gabby. You know, because I was working at PLP yesterday with Michael Owen and Owen Hargreaves, and you could feel that. You could feel it just watching the game on TV. You know, that the fans were getting a little bit edgy. You know, but we don't need that. We need the fans to get behind us in situations like that. You know, but obviously they're going to be like that because of what's happened in the last few seasons. You know, there's no doubt about that. That will be on players' minds, but it's about taking that next step forward, and that's what, you know, to win the league. That's what you've got to do.
I mean, look, obviously, as an ex-Arsenal man, the next bit's hard because we just talk Manchester United for a moment or two, and the credit to them, you know, they've got a real cutting edge in Buemo and Cunha. Bruno Fernandes, absolutely brilliant. And Harry Maguire, has he done enough for you, David, or is he doing enough, do you think, to earn a place in the England squad?
It's a great question, Jeff, because it's tough. I would like him in the England squad because for me, you know what you're getting with Harry Maguire. For what he's been through, the amount of stick that he got, the character of that guy is tremendous. And he's playing like he's played now. Then there's no reason why he shouldn't be in that squad.
What about Saka and his form? 0 goals in his last 13 appearances in all comps. David, he's got to do better, hasn't he?
He has, Gab, but then you look at, there's quite a few of them when you look at yesterday that have got to do better. Saka started really well in the game, but then he didn't carry it on through, to his normal standard. His normal standard is like really high, and we all know that. But, I'm not worried about him at all because he's a quality player and he'll produce when needed to.
Still confident, David?
Yes, I am, mate. It's not been a good weekend. Forest and excuse me. All catching up with Leeds. Forest and West Ham. So it's a massive game tonight for Leeds at Everton. So I hope that hopefully they're going to cheer me up for the weekend to make it easy start to the week.
Good lad, David. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, David.
Always
Top
good to hear
man.
from you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Big night for Leeds. We'll talk Everton Leeds, by the way, just after.
I fancy Leeds to win.
Yeah. I'm not so sure. Everton,
been better away from home, haven't they, recently?
They have. Lots of sides find it difficult when they move into a new stadium, but Everton are getting bodies back now as well, which is great for them. Niles texted, he said the amount of people that were saying the league was done, even back in October, including talkSPORT pundits. How can anyone trust Arteta to bring it home after the last 2 seasons? If Arsenal somehow fail to win the league from their position, it has to be curtains for Mikel. What do you think?
Oh, he doesn't win the Premier League this season. Goodbye. Has to be.
Yeah.
The money that he spent as well. We talk about Pep, Liverpool, Chelsea. The money Arsenal have spent. They've got 2.5 teams available, Jeff. The squad's that good that one year he had to go out and get some game time at Marseille. Scored a great goal on the weekend as well in his debut. Has to win the Premier League.
Yeah. It's interesting. One thing you can't accuse him of is not going for it yesterday. I know that when they were behind, 4 changes in the 58th minute, so he took what he hoped would be a sort of dynamic action. Just, it didn't quite
Weird that Lewis Skelly didn't come on, though. He'd rather Ben White and then Timber to left back.
Yeah.
I think Lewis Skelly must be thinking, what do I have to do to get a Premier League start?
Yeah, and
he won't be on the plane either, Jim.
No, he's not. Another one who's got to be playing to be on the plane.